Hey guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Okay, this is a much anticipated job interview tips for medical coders. Now, relatively, it can be for most professions in the medical field, but this is just advice, okay? This is not anything official. Of course, this is all me, just sharing the things that I know. I hope this video will help you in your journey in medical coding as far as like when you first go for your job interview. Now, this video had to be broken up into two separate videos, okay? So today we're going to be talking about the job interview tips, the first part. The second part is going to be the questions that you as the interviewee can ask the employer. You know, when they say, oh, do you have any questions? And usually we get that deer in the headlights type. This way you guys can be prepared. I came up with a whole list. This is why this had to be broken out into two separate episodes. Today we're going to be talking about the basics and what the employer might ask you, okay? And then tomorrow, because I did the vote, and it looks like the second part to this is going to be the episode for tomorrow instead of Q&A Tuesday. I debated on doing both episodes, both Q&A Tuesday and the second one. I don't know. We'll see, because it's Christmas Eve. I may do it just because Wednesday is Christmas Day, so I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But about tomorrow, about 1 o'clock is when Central Time is when I will be posting the other second part of this video for job interview tips. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Number one, know where you're applying. Okay, before when you're applying and things like that, you really wanted to get into a hospital or a facility or something or a company. Do your research, because a lot of times they will ask you, what do you know about us? And you got to be prepared to say something, okay? It doesn't have to be the huge long history of the place, okay? Just something to let them know that you did your research and that you know where you're applying, okay? That's number one. Number two, dress appropriately. I cannot stress this enough. Dress appropriately. Now, Vlogmas Day 1, I talked about this, okay? And I will link the video where I talk about the staples that you should have in your closet. I will go ahead and link that here, because I want you guys to choose very carefully the outfit that you're going to go and do the interview with. Now, dress appropriately. Do not go in jeans, even if these jeans are dressy. Always, ladies, go with slacks or a dress or a skirt, okay? That is the staple, okay? Please don't go in jeans. You want them to take you seriously, especially if you have no previous experience. You really have to shine, okay? And that's something else we're going to talk about too. A lot of people, I'm going to segue a little bit. A lot of people are saying, well, what do I do if they're always asking for all this experience? I can't apply anywhere. Yes, you can. Apply anyway. Even if they say we want 2 to 3 years coding experience, go ahead and submit your resume anyway. Because sometimes you may get lucky and they may be in a jam and they really need coders. So maybe they'll take a chance on you that way. But you never know unless you apply. Okay, so don't let we need 2 to 3 years experience stop you from applying. Okay, apply anyway. That is the thing. Apply anyway. And besides, you get your name out there, and at least this way, maybe you might get an interview. And if you get an interview, that's when you really got to shine. So don't go in jeans. Okay, you can use a shift dress if you're wanting to wear a dress. Please try to get a jacket, to go over. That would be really great if you can do that. Muted makeup, okay? Don't go with the wild colors or anything. Just go with very neutral tones on your makeup. Do not wear hoop earrings, and no out of control fingernails or nail polish. No V-necks, no spandex, no leggings, okay? Even if you think, oh, it looks cute, the spandex and leggings and a loose shirt, don't do it. Not for the first time, not for your interview, okay? watch Vlogmas for outfit ideas. So I will, like I said, I'll go ahead and link that video in probably in the cards. I'm learning how to do that. All right, so go ahead and think about that. Number 3 is wear earth tones. Earth tone colors. Blue is the best because blue signifies loyalty. Okay, greens, browns, blacks. Okay, those are the kind of colors you want to go with. Whites, if it's appropriate, because I sometimes, like with bad weather, like wet, rainy weather, you don't want to be wearing white. Uh, Stay away from red. Okay, just stay away from red on the interview days. All right, and number 4, do not chew gum. Mints are okay beforehand, but during the interview, you should not be chewing anything. Okay, that should go without saying, but sometimes I've seen people go into their interview chomping, and it's not good. All right, number 5, firm handshake. I cannot stress this enough. If you don't know about your handshake, ask somebody. Just stick your hand out and say, how's my handshake? Okay. If you do this little weak dead fish handshake, you need to get rid of it. Please work on your handshake. I'm telling you guys, it is so important to have a good handshake. People think that these things are like antiquated and, oh, this stuff doesn't matter anymore. It does. Okay. It really does. So work on your handshake. Ask somebody that you respect and say, hey, how's my handshake? And if you're out, maybe at church or, at a school or something, shake somebody's hand, say, how's my handshake, and just get some feedback that way. Never, ever, ever, when you're going to an interview, never, ever give the dead fish handshake. And the dead fish handshake is when you're just barely touching. No, a good firm handshake, solidly look at them in the eye, and that's it. You don't have to break their hand, but give them a good handshake, okay? No more about that. Let's see. But if you do the dead fish handshake, you've lost the interview. I mean, that is a lot of points off for a lot of people, okay? I'm just saying. Just keep that in mind. Number 6, speak clearly. Don't mumble. Don't say uh-huh. Speak clearly. Say yes or no, okay? Be very clear. Say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, okay? We want to keep those things. We want to be as formal as possible because you are on an interview. You want to be on your very best behavior because you want to shine, okay? Number 7, if you are a smoker, please do not smoke before your interview, okay? I know it is. I had this argument today with a smoker, but I want to set you guys up for success, okay? If you are a smoker, I want you to keep this in mind. Hospitals, other medical facilities, a lot of companies are now becoming smoke-free, okay? So a lot of times, I know of one hospital that will actually test their people, and if they test positive for tobacco products, they do not get hired. It does not matter how good or how qualified they are. If they test positive for tobacco use, they will not be hired. And that is the way that it is. It could be for a lot of reasons because you are working in a hospital. You want to set a good example for everybody around. It could be because they don't want people to be exposed to secondhand smoke. And as somebody who was exposed to secondhand smoke by my aunts when I was a kid, it is really bad. It's hard on people. I try to stay away from smokers right now because of my asthma, and it's because it does trigger, and so I just always want people to be aware of that. That's something that's a little thing that sometimes people don't think about too. So if you are a smoker, consider that there are places like these medical facilities that do not allow, they're like tobacco-free campuses. My facility is a tobacco-free campus as well. So, but like I said, don't smoke beforehand, okay? Number 8, carry a notepad and also have your specific questions written down. Tomorrow, I'm going to go over those questions, but have your specific questions written down. This will show that you are prepared and genuinely interested in getting the job, okay? That you have your questions, that you're writing stuff down, and that's you're taking notes. They need to see that, okay? It's all about the details. It's all about how you carry yourself, okay? Because all the little things are going to come out right there. Because when you're nervous, uh, when you're nervous, yes, you are not yourself because you can normally get it together, but it does show like, okay, is this person detail oriented, or is this person always going to be a nervous person all the time? So we need to see that. So that's a thing. Always try to keep that in mind. And that leads me to number 9. It is okay to admit when you're nervous, but show enthusiasm. Thank the interviewer for giving you the opportunity to interview with them. You want them to take a chance on you, but you need to show why you are worth it. Okay? That is very, very important. You want to turn on the charm, but you want to be as professional and as shining as you possibly can. Okay? Number 10. All right, now this is the part where they're going to start asking you questions, okay? Now you've made it out of your test, and you're there for the interview, and now they just want to sit there and talk to you, okay? This is where they start asking you questions. Now, be prepared, because a lot of times when you are being interviewed, you'll be interviewed by a panel of people. It's not just one person. A lot of times they'll have the hiring person from HR maybe, the supervisor, the lead, and maybe another data quality person. They're all going to be there in a panel asking you questions. I had a colleague that I knew from another facility, and she came here to this facility, and she didn't know where to go, but she had an interview. And so I said, okay, well, I know who you're going to be interviewing with, and I'll go ahead and take you up there. Well, I'm thinking it was just going to be my supervisor up there. No, there was a whole panel of people. And I said, okay, I felt like I was just, putting her in front of a firing squad, because they were all just lined up, and they were trying not to make her nervous. But I went in there and I took her in there and I said, everybody, my supervisor was looking at me like, what are you doing here? And I said, everybody, I'd like you to meet my friend. And I introduced her. And I said, she's a wonderful coder. She's here from, and then I said the facility that she came from. And I said, and I guess she's here for an interview. And they all just looked at me and started smiling and laughing. So I introduced her to everybody. And I said, this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so. I said, this is my boss, and then I said, I'm sorry, sir, I don't know your name. And he was somebody from data quality. So I had never seen that person, but I've heard of his name. So I was like, oh, okay, now it's nice to meet you. And so she shook hands with everybody. And I said, okay. I said, I'm going to leave you here now in these very capable hands, and I will see you when you get out. So she said, okay. So I waited for her, and her interview went really well. She got the job, and, I mean, it worked out. So, but yes. Obviously, that doesn't happen always where somebody that works there at the facility, but in this case, that's what happened. So I always wanted to make sure that I mentioned that. That's why I wrote it down, that you will be in front of a panel, okay? But it's not to make you nervous. It's because they have their own specific questions. And a lot of times when they're taking a chance on somebody or they're going to hire somebody, it needs to be in front of, it's like a committee has to decide, okay? All right. So, here's where they start asking you questions. What are your goals? Okay, professionally, what are your goals? This is where you can talk about like what you want to do. Like if you want to achieve more specific certifications, or if you want to go the degree route. Now, do not talk about wanting to be a supervisor, wanting to be an auditor. Do not do it, okay? The reason that I say this is because if you go in there and you say, well, I want to be a supervisor, I want to be a lead, when I've had time in, you don't know how that person's going to take it, okay? You don't know if they're going to feel like threatened, that somebody's going to try to want to take their job. You just need to show that you have leadership skills. It's more about showing rather than talking, okay? And you do that once you get the job, okay? You don't want to seem threatening before you get in the door, okay? You want to be able to give yourself the best chance to get in, okay? Then you can show your abilities to be a leader. Now, you're not going to go around announcing, hey, I'm going to be a leader around here. No, the lion doesn't have to announce that it's a lion for people to know that it's a lion, right? So you want to keep that in mind. You need to let your actions show rather than talk, okay? Because some people are more about talk than anything else, and there's nothing to back it up. There's no substance. But when you are showing, that weighs so much more than anything that you can ever speak, okay? So you got to let your actions do the talking, all right? But yes, do not mention that. Just talk about maybe wanting to get a specific certification, or maybe going the degree route, and you want to, get your foot in the door. That's what you're talking about there when you're talking about your professional goals. What are you doing to continuously educate yourself? That's another thing that you can talk about when they're asking you about what your professional goals are. Are you ordering journals? Are you subscribed to any websites? I always recommend subscribing to the New England Journal of Medicine. They do give you free articles every month when you sign up on the website. You can just sign up on the website and see what they have available. But yes, you do get access to free articles in a month. I think it's 2. You have to check the website. I subscribe to them now, so I always have their journals coming in all the time. But that is something that I do talk about too. When I'm doing like my evaluation, I will put that on there. And so that's showing that you're going above and beyond, okay? But that is something you can mention if they're talking about what your professional goals are. If they ask you what are your personal goals, you can talk about what you want in a work environment, that you want to be part of a team. If you want to be part of a team, talk about that. Expand on why it's important for you to be part of a team. Are you a self-starter? Talk about that. Can you work independently? That is a personal goal that you can say that you would like to work in a place. You want to find a place that you can work at that embraces your independent spirit. But emphasize that you can take direction, okay? Because you don't want them to think that you are just going to do anything and everything you want to do because you're an independent person, okay? Just let them know that you want to be a part of a team, but that, you can work independently, you can self-start, and that way they know that they can count on you to do that, okay? Because a lot of times people are not going to want to sit there and have to direct you or handhold you, okay? If you know what you are supposed to do, if you have a list of tasks at hand to do, then they know that they can count on you to do it, okay? So you always have to follow through on your word, okay? Whenever you're doing things like that, follow through on your word, all right? Let's see. Oh, how do you handle conflict is the next one. They may ask you, how do you handle conflict? Tell them of the things that you are doing to make yourself a better person so that you can handle conflict efficiently. If you are reading books about leadership, conflict resolution, mention a title. That way you're not all talk, okay? So always have something to back it up. Don't just say, oh yeah, I read books about conflict resolution. Oh really? What was the latest book that you read? Yeah, don't get caught. So that little notepad that you have with you, write it down. Get a book, check out a book from the public library. I will always advocate for the public library. But check out a book from the public library about conflict resolution, okay? And take a look at it, and that way you can, when you say that you are doing it, you are actually doing it, okay? That is helping you to develop into a more effective person at managing conflict. Because let's be honest, conflict does happen, but emphasize that you're working towards self-improvement to effectively manage it, okay? You believe in communication and talking things out. So that's very important. You want them to know that you do recognize and realize that there are going to be instances where there is a disagreement or there is conflict, but that good problem-solving skills, okay? That is something that is very, very important. You emphasize that you are really good at problem solving, okay? You solve problems, okay? So, that's that one. Number 13, name a time when you were faced with a provider, or if you've never worked, in the medical coding field before, just somebody who did not want to take your guidance, and how did you handle it? Okay. And this is where you can say, well, I changed my approach. I took a softer or a firmer stance. You're basically customizing your response to that particular provider or that particular person that you were having the disagreement with. And then if all else fails, you can let them know that you will call in for backup, or that you had to call in for backup as for the supervisor, but only after you've tried to resolve it on the lowest level. This shows conflict resolution. Okay, they need to see that you're able to take control of a situation, handle it as best that you can, and then get it to a better, if you can't solve it yourself, that you know how to reach out for help. Okay, that's the thing right there. So remember that. Okay. um let's see, number 14, who or what inspires you? Now this is a loaded question, okay, because they're gonna look at your answer, but don't say an answer that you think that the person wants to hear. Be sincere about your answer. Be very truthful. I have noted here, is it the actions of one person, or is it, who is it and why? Did they overcome adversity? Is it an action like creativity? Is it something like, you just appreciate creativity, and you can see moments during the day when things inspire you, to be a better person, or to be more efficient. And I was going to say effective at the same time, but be a more effective and efficient person. What is it that is inspiring you to do those things? So something to think about. It is sort of like a pageant, when they ask the pageant people, well, what kind of things would you like, or that you want world peace and things like that. I always think of Sandra Bullock in that one movie, Miss Congeniality. I love that movie. There's something about Sandra Bullock's movies I just love. While You Were Sleeping is my favorite movie. Okay, I just wanted to say that. Anyway, moving right along, like squirrel. But yes, think about somebody that inspires you, or maybe it was a teacher or a boss, or maybe it's your mom or your dad or your grandpa or your grandma. Somebody that inspires you, and what makes them special? What is it about them, their quality, that makes that person in particular an inspiration to you? Now, for me, of course, it would be my mom. My mom is the most inspirational person that I was I can't thank my mom enough. And you know, my mom inspired me every single day that she lived, and she still inspires me now. And that she's been gone all this time, I still find inspiration from her every day. And she was extremely loving and very forgiving, and she always said everything's going to be all right, everything's going to work out. And she always had that positive attitude. She was always smiling, and she always found a way to forgive people, and she always found a way to get things done, and she was very efficient. And so that's what makes my mom my most inspirational person. She's my hero. She's who I look up to. And I wouldn't even be a medical coder. I certainly probably wouldn't have made it through medical coding school without her. But she inspired me every single day. And so that's who I would say that is my inspiration. But she taught me diligence and hard work, and how important it is to be truthful and honest. And I'm a good person because of her. So that's what I would say. But that's me. She's my inspiration. So, but yes. And next question is, or the next point is, why did you leave your previous job? because you wanted more mental stimulation, maybe, or maybe something was motivating you, like learning, or was your previous job physically demanding? Did you want to do something to be a better inspiration for your children or your family? A lot of times, when it's your first job as a medical coder, you are maybe leaving a physically demanding job or maybe a very mundane job, and you getting into this field is going to be a whole another ball of wax. Okay, and so having that mental stimulation, which you know you're going to get, right, and um, just being able to learn new things is very exciting, and that is an inspiring move to be able to do that. So you can always say that, working very physically demanding jobs is really hard. I mean, it's taxing on your body. And I just wouldn't want to do that again. I would do it if I had to, obviously, because, I mean, I'll do what I have to do to survive, but I wouldn't want to do that again, because it was really, really very hard, you know. And the final thing before I wrap up tonight, how do you respond to criticism? Okay, they are going to ask you this question. Okay, 8 times out of 10, they're going to ask you this question. How do you respond to criticism? This is when your maturity level is going to come out. Whether you say that you learned from criticism, that you can take constructive criticism and you can learn from it. Now, if somebody is pointing out to you a flaw that you have, and they are presenting it in a respectful way, obviously, um, it is a good thing to learn. I mean, it's a good thing to learn how to accept criticism. Some people can't accept criticism. Some people get very upset when it comes to criticism, and they take it very personally. I have learned through my research, with leadership and things like that, that you have to be able to take criticism. You have to be able to find ways of getting better. You have to accept when people are trying to give you constructive advice. And if you can, at least you can harness that good advice. And maybe it might seem like it's something that hurts your feelings at first, but if you stop and think about it, if the person is telling you, it's because they care. Okay, it's not because they're trying to be mean or hateful. You can tell when somebody's trying to be mean and hateful. Okay, but if you're getting criticism, um, hopefully is constructively, then you can use that for your advantage to become better, to become a better coder, a better person, and the list goes on and on. So that is my advice for tonight. Now, tomorrow is going to be the list of questions that you can ask your future potential employer. So I hope you'll tune in tomorrow for that. And I will be posting that around 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for tonight. But if you are a medical coder, a medical coding student, somebody curious about the fascinating world of medical coding, a provider or a nurse, I invite you to like and subscribe and follow me on my journey in medical coding. All right, I will see y'all on the next video. Bye.